You've probably spent a lot of time learning new things, reading books, watching videos, listening to advice, but knowledge alone doesn't change your life. Real change happens when you put what you know into action. This is about moving beyond just understanding ideas to actually doing what it takes to improve yourself every day. Imagine waking up with a clear plan, taking steps that build your confidence, strengthen your habits, and push you closer to your goals. It's not about quick fixes or waiting for the perfect moment. It's about making small, consistent choices that add up to big results over time. In this guide, you'll discover practical ways to turn your knowledge into action. You'll learn how to face discomfort, stay focused on what really matters, and hold yourself accountable. You'll see why pushing past fear and giving your best effort, even when no one's watching, makes all the difference. This is a straightforward path to building discipline, resilience, and lasting success. Stick with this journey, and you'll find that the person you want to become is already within reach. You just need to take the steps that bring that vision to life. This is your chance to stop just learning and start doing. The time to act is now. Chapter 1. Start taking action on what you already know. Most people already know what to do. They've read the books, listened to the talks, followed the pages, watched the videos. They've heard the same advice repeated in different voices. Wake up earlier, move your body, eat better, speak less, listen more, spend wisely, focus on growth, let go of distractions. It's not that people don't know, it's that they don't act. Knowledge is everywhere now. It's overflowing, but action is rare. And that's what makes the difference. You don't need more information, you need more direction. You need to stop collecting and start applying. You need to stop waiting for the perfect mood, or the right time, or some grand motivation to strike. Because it won't, at least not in the way you think. The breakthrough isn't in thinking more, it's in doing more with what you already understand. Knowing what to do and doing it are two entirely different lives. It's easy to nod your head in agreement while reading something inspiring. It feels good to feel understood. But unless that understanding is turned into change, real visible change in how you live your days, then it fades. Like a dream you remember for a few minutes and then lose forever. So many people are walking around with great potential buried under layers of hesitation, procrastination, fear, and distraction. You might be one of them. And that's not a criticism. It's a wake-up call. You don't need to wait to become more educated or more prepared. You don't need to take one more course or buy one more book. You don't need to talk to one more person who gives you permission to begin. You are not lacking ideas, you are lacking execution. What you need is courage. The courage to begin badly. The courage to be uncomfortable. The courage to feel exposed while trying. The courage to take a step forward, even if the next 10 steps are still uncertain. Progress doesn't come from perfection. It comes from movement. From action, from choosing to do instead of overthinking what might go wrong. It comes from picking something that matters and doing it without needing a round of applause or external validation. You take the knowledge sitting in your mind and you use your hands, your words, your choices to turn it into something real. If you know that waking up earlier will give you more peace in the morning, then tomorrow don't hit snooze. If you know that writing every day will help you become the author you dream of becoming, then stop editing in your mind and put down the first sentence today. If you know that removing sugar will make your body feel better, then start with the next meal. Not Monday, not next month. Now, right now. This is where your life is happening. If you've been carrying advice inside you for years, it's time to stop being a student of theories and start becoming a student of life, the kind who learns by living it out. Because growth doesn't come from memorizing quotes or highlighting chapters. It comes from feeling the resistance and moving forward anyway. It comes from failing and showing up again. It comes from trying and getting better over time, not waiting until you're already good. So ask yourself today, not what do I need to know, but what do I already know that I am not doing? That is the most honest mirror you can hold. That is the gap between your current life and the one you want to live. Not the knowledge gap, the action gap. And the only way to close it is with your effort. There's no shortcut. There's no replacement. No one can do it for you. You've already heard what needs to be heard. The rest is your job now. You don't need to master everything at once. Just pick one thing and follow through. Pick the thing you've been avoiding but that you know will improve your life. You probably already know what it is. That's the quiet voice in your head that keeps nudging you when you're scrolling or distracted or staying busy to avoid the real work. That voice is not asking for perfection. It's asking for commitment. If you've been stuck for a long time, it's not because you lack information. It's because you've trained your brain to get comfort from consumption, not progress. Every time you consume and do nothing, your brain gets a hit of feeling like you're improving, but you're not. Real improvement is painful. It costs energy. It challenges your current habits. That's why most people avoid it. But if you push through the resistance, you begin to change not only your actions, but your identity. You become someone who follows through, someone who can trust themselves, someone who doesn't rely on outside circumstances to determine progress, and that's freedom. Because once you understand that the gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with simple daily actions, your life becomes a project, not a puzzle. You stop looking for the missing piece and start building piece by piece. You already know the basics: health, purpose, relationships, time, discipline, focus. These are not mysteries. But how much of what you know are you living? Be honest. How much of what you've learned has actually made it into your actions? If the answer is little or none, that's not failure. That's feedback. Use it. Don't waste time judging yourself. That doesn't lead anywhere. Use that truth as a place to begin again. Make your learning come alive by using it. Learning is not complete until it turns into action. Otherwise, it's just information sitting in storage. Life is the test. Life is the classroom. Life is the report card. You want to know how well you're doing? Don't look at how much you know, look at how much you do. How much of your time is aligned with what you claim matters? How many of your habits reflect your values? How many of your words match your choices? If the answers make you uncomfortable, good. That means something inside you is awake and ready. Use that discomfort, turn it into fuel. Let it push you into action today, not tomorrow, not next week. Every day you wait, the gap widens. Every day you delay, the cost grows. Time doesn't pause just because you hesitate. The world keeps moving, so should you. Don't make the mistake of waiting to feel like it. That feeling might never come. Action leads feeling, not the other way around. You do the thing and then the motivation follows. You take the first step and then the clarity grows. You try and fail and get up again, and suddenly you're not the same person anymore. You've built experience. You've built resilience. You've built a self you can be proud of. Most of the change you need isn't dramatic. It's not in some big move. It's in the daily choice to apply what you know. If you know that cutting out 1 hour of distraction will give you space to create something meaningful, then do it. Not just once. Every day. If you know that 5 minutes of quiet in the morning makes your day calmer, then protect that time like it matters. Because it does. You are not starting from zero. You have already learned so much. You've lived, you've experienced, you've grown. Now it's time to take that wisdom and put it to work. Turn ideas into habits. Turn goals into routines. Turn dreams into systems. Use what you know. Don't just carry it around in your head. Carry it out into your life. Every day you get a new chance, a fresh start. But it's only real if you use it. You can either let another day pass in the comfort of knowing, or you can step into the discomfort of doing. One keeps you safe and stuck, the other moves you forward. Even if slowly, even if slowly, even if imperfectly. Movement is always better than mental gymnastics. So write the article, go for the run, make the call, read the chapter, and then change your behavior. Watch the video, and then practice the skill. Hear the advice and then follow it with action. Be the person who doesn't just talk about improvement but lives it. Lives it day after day, quietly, consistently, without making excuses or looking for applause. This is how real change happens. It starts not with a breakthrough, but with a decision to stop waiting, a decision to stop hiding behind what you know, a decision to act, to show up, to start with what you already have and build from there. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need everything figured out. You just need to start doing what you already know will make you better. If you do that every day in small ways, you won't need to be told you've changed. You'll feel it. You'll see it in how you speak, in how you carry yourself, in how you spend your time, in how others respond to your energy. You won't just learn things, you'll live them. And that's the real goal. You already know enough to take the next step. So take it. Chapter 2. Build one useful habit and stick with it daily. Change begins when you choose one thing and stay with it. Not 10 things, not 100 plans. One habit that matters. One habit that supports the kind of life you say you want. One habit that, if done daily, would slowly and surely improve your confidence, focus, energy, discipline, or clarity. People often underestimate what one strong habit can do. They chase too many things and finish none. They start routines full of effort, but give up the moment results. Don't come quickly, but one small daily habit, done consistently, can rebuild a person's identity. Most people think habits are about motivation. They're not. They're about structure. They're about building a system that removes choice from the equation. You don't negotiate with the habit. You do it every day, whether you feel like it or not. Whether it's raining or sunny. Whether you're tired or rested. Whether the world is chaotic or peaceful. That's how habits shape character. Not by grand gestures, but by quiet repetition. You don't need to transform your whole life in a week. You need to pick something you can do every day and commit to doing it without excuses. Wake up at the same time. Write a single paragraph. Stretch for 10 minutes. Drink 2 glasses of water first thing in the morning. Reflect for 5 minutes before bed. These aren't major accomplishments in themselves, but what they represent is something powerful. Follow through. And follow through is what builds trust in yourself. Discipline is earned. It's not a trait you're born with. It's something you build by keeping your word to yourself. When you say you'll do something and then actually do it, you send a message to your mind that you're reliable. And when your mind believes you're reliable, you become more confident, not in a loud or dramatic way, but in a grounded, quiet strength that comes from self-respect. Start with something that matters to you. It doesn't have to impress anyone else. It doesn't need to look amazing from the outside. It just needs to be something that connects to your deeper goals. If your goal is to get stronger, maybe your habit is 5 push-ups a day. If your goal is to be a calmer person, Maybe your habit is 10 minutes of silence. If your goal is to grow your mind, maybe your habit is reading 2 pages of a meaningful book each night. The habit isn't supposed to make you proud, it's supposed to make you better. Pick one, only one. That's the hardest part for most people, because they want to do it all at once. But doing it all at once is the reason they fail. Growth is slow on purpose. It tests your patience. It demands humility. It forces you to let go of your fantasy of overnight success and settle into the daily work of becoming who you were meant to be. You don't rise to the level of your potential, you fall to the level of your habits. That's not just a catchy phrase, it's real. When pressure comes, you don't suddenly become better. You fall back on what you've trained, and if what you've trained is inconsistency, avoidance, or distraction, that's what you'll rely on when things get hard. But if what you've trained is showing up daily, no matter what, then you'll have that habit to carry you through the tough days. The beauty of a strong daily habit is that it becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it anymore. You don't argue with yourself in the morning about whether or not to do it. You just do it, because it's who you are now. And once that happens, your energy is freed up for bigger challenges. You're not wasting mental effort on whether or not to keep promises. You're using that energy to move forward. This isn't about perfection. You will miss a day. You will feel resistance. You will question whether it's worth it. But the habit isn't ruined by one bad day. It's ruined by the story you tell yourself after a bad day. If you miss once, start again immediately. Don't wait for the next week or the first of the month. Don't turn a one-day mistake into a permanent break. Start again. That's how habits survive, through recommitment. You have to be honest with yourself about what you're capable of sustaining. Don't build a habit that looks good on paper but doesn't fit your life. Build a habit that you can stick with, even on your worst days. Something that can bend when life gets messy. If your habit needs 2 hours of your time and perfect conditions, it's not a habit, it's a wish. Keep it simple, keep it close. Keep it doable, and track it. Not in an obsessive way, but in a clear way. Check it off on a calendar. Mark a box. Record it somewhere visible. Why? Because progress feels good. Seeing a streak of days where you've kept your promise to yourself builds momentum. It shows you that you're capable. It reminds you why you started. And when you see that chain of effort, you'll think twice before breaking it. Your mind will try to talk you out of it. It will say it's not enough. That one small habit won't change anything. That you're wasting your time. Ignore that voice. It's not the voice of truth. It's the voice of resistance. The habit is small because it's meant to be manageable. It's small so you can repeat it. The goal isn't the task itself. It's the identity it builds. You're not just drinking water. You're becoming someone who takes care of their health. You're not just writing a paragraph. You're becoming someone who creates consistently. That's the deeper reason you keep going. Sticking with something daily also teaches you emotional control. It teaches you to act even when you're bored, tired, anxious, or angry. Because if you can follow through regardless of your mood, you've gained something most people never will: freedom from emotional impulsiveness. You become steady, grounded, able to act with clarity in chaos. That alone is life-changing. There's power in knowing that you can count on yourself. That when you say you'll do something, it gets done. Not for likes or approval or applause, but because your word means something. That power isn't given. It's earned, and it's earned one day at a time, by building and keeping one simple, useful habit. Don't wait to be inspired. Don't wait until life slows down. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start today. Choose your habit. Make it clear. Make it specific. Attach it to a time of day. Remove obstacles, and when it's time, do it. even if it's hard, even if you don't feel like it, especially then, because that's when the habit is being built, not when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient, when the world is loud and you stick to your routine. That's discipline. When everything feels urgent but you still make time for your habit, that's priority. When your mind says it won't matter but you do it anyway, that's integrity. These are the traits that carry you through life. They're not found in books. They're built through effort. One useful habit, that's where the change begins. It's not flashy. It's not dramatic. But it's real. And over time, it will give you what shortcuts and tricks never can. Proof. Proof that you're capable. Proof that you're growing. Proof that you're becoming the kind of person who turns thoughts into action and ideas into progress. So today, choose one thing. Keep it simple. Make it matter. And do it again tomorrow. And the day after. And the day after that. Don't stop. Don't negotiate. Don't wait. Just build. And become. Chapter 3. Practice what you learn in real situations now. Learning means nothing if it never leaves your mind. Information held but never used becomes a burden. It piles up. It clutters your thinking. It gives you the illusion of progress without any actual change. Real growth happens not when you memorize advice, but when you apply it, especially when it's hard to. That's where your learning either proves itself or falls apart. You can read about patience all day, but until you stay calm in a situation that frustrates you, you haven't learned patience. You can study leadership, but until you step up and lead when everyone else stays quiet, you haven't learned what it truly means. The purpose of knowledge is not to impress others or feel superior. The purpose of knowledge is to help you live better. If your understanding never shows up in how you treat people, how you react under pressure, how you manage your emotions, how you make decisions, then it's just noise in your head. You know what integrity is, but do you choose it when it costs you something? You know how important it is to listen more than you speak. But do you actually do that in your conversations? You know growth requires discomfort, but do you step into it or just talk about it? You don't need more theories. You need more practice. You need to test your beliefs in the real world, where things aren't clean or convenient. You don't become resilient by reading about resilience. You become resilient when life throws you into situations where you want to give up, but you don't. When you show up, not once, but over and over, in conditions that don't make it easy. Every principle you claim to follow must be tested through action. Otherwise, it's just a decoration in your mind. Don't wait for the perfect scenario to start using what you've learned. That moment never arrives. Real life is unpredictable and messy. Use what you know now, in the middle of the chaos. If you've learned how to manage stress, try it during the argument, not after. If you've learned about humility, practice it when someone corrects you, not later in your journal. These moments are your test. They are the training ground for the person you're trying to become. There's no such thing as partial growth. Either you apply what you know, or you don't. Application is where transformation lives. You might not be perfect. You might stumble, but even an imperfect attempt is better than flawless theory. When you practice what you learn in real moments, you gain something that no book or lecture can give you: experience. You see how things work in reality, how your emotions react, how your ego resists, how your instincts try to pull you back to comfort. You can't understand these things from the outside. You have to live. The biggest trap people fall into is thinking they need to wait until they're more prepared. They say they'll act once they feel more confident or once they've studied a bit more. But life doesn't pause while you prepare. It keeps happening. And the people who grow the most aren't the ones who studied the longest. They're the ones who acted the soonest. You grow into capability by stepping into situations you aren't fully ready for. You become capable by choosing to act with what you have, not waiting for more. If you've learned something that matters to you, then your responsibility is to put it to work. Every day offers 100 small chances to do this. They don't announce themselves. They don't wait for you to be in the mood. They show up in difficult conversations, unexpected delays, personal failures, and unfair outcomes. That's where your learning needs to show up. Not on social media, not in debates, but in your behavior. If you want to be emotionally strong, practice it when you're disappointed. If you want to be disciplined, show it when you don't feel like sticking to your plan. If you want to be kinder, demonstrate it when someone irritates you. Those are the moments that matter. That's where your growth is made visible, not through your words, but through your response. You have more chances than you think. Every interaction is a chance to live your principles. Every decision is a moment to choose between the easy way and the right way. But if you don't act on what you know, you lose those chances, and each missed opportunity pushes your growth further out of reach. Not because you lack potential, but because you lack execution. It's easy to hide behind learning. You can keep consuming more ideas, thinking you're being productive. But it's only productive if it turns into change. If all you do is gather knowledge, you're just decorating your mind. Don't become someone who talks about improvement but lives in the same cycles. Be someone who takes the ideas seriously enough to bring them into the messy parts of life. Don't look for applause. Don't wait for recognition. Practicing what you've learned is usually invisible. No one might notice. That doesn't matter. The goal isn't to be seen doing the right thing. The goal is to become someone who naturally does it. That's the difference between performing growth and living it. One is for attention, the other is for strength. You can start small. No one changes everything in a day. Pick one idea that speaks to you and apply it today in one real way. If you've read about setting boundaries, do it the next time someone crosses a line. If you've studied how to stay calm, apply it the next time you're interrupted. These aren't just tips. They're tools. They're meant to be used. That's how you develop real power. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. At first it's awkward. You'll hesitate. You'll second-guess yourself. But with time you build instinct. You don't need to pause and remember the lesson. You just live it. It becomes part of your character. And when that happens, your life begins to change. Not because you know more, but because you act better. Life doesn't reward you for what you know. It rewards you for what you apply. So stop waiting. Stop planning without action. Take what you've already learned and turn it into something useful. Use it in conversations, in decisions, in failures, in frustration. This is how you grow, not in theory but in reality. Not in safety but in practice. Not one day but now. Chapter 4. Face hard truths and grow from the discomfort. Growth begins the moment you stop running from what's hard to admit. Most people spend their lives avoiding uncomfortable truths. They distract themselves with noise. They point fingers at others. They tell stories that make them feel safe, even if those stories aren't honest. But the truth doesn't go away just because you ignore it. It waits, and the longer you avoid it, the deeper it cuts. Facing hard truths is not about punishment. It's about freedom. The kind of freedom that only comes when you stop pretending and start dealing with reality exactly as it is. Discomfort is not the enemy. Denial is. When you lie to yourself, you rob yourself of change. You stay stuck in cycles that you secretly hate. You blame your situation instead of taking responsibility. You find excuses that sound reasonable, but keep you small. But the moment you turn toward the discomfort and face what's really holding you back, you begin to grow. Not because the pain disappears, but because you become stronger than it. It's painful to admit that you've wasted time. It hurts to see how much fear has controlled your decisions. It's hard to accept that your habits are keeping you from your goals, but that kind of pain is not meant to break you. It's meant to wake you up. Avoiding it doesn't protect you. It traps you in a life you don't feel proud of. But when you face it head-on, something shifts inside you. You stop seeing yourself as a victim. You start seeing yourself as someone who can take ownership, even in the middle of difficulty. The truth is, you're not always doing your best. Sometimes you're just doing what's easiest. You're not tired. You're distracted. You're not unlucky. You're undisciplined. You're not stuck. You're avoiding the effort it takes to move. These are hard things to admit, but they are also the doorway to strength. Because once you see things clearly, you can change them. You can stop hoping for a different result and start creating one. Discomfort is a sign that something matters. If it didn't matter, it wouldn't bother you. So don't run from the feeling. Sit with it. Ask what it's trying to show you. Maybe it's time to have a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's time to end a habit that no longer fits your future. Maybe it's time to stop blaming your past and start building your next chapter. These are hard moves, but they are necessary. Nothing strong is built in comfort, not muscles, not character, not wisdom. Facing the truth doesn't mean shaming yourself. It means being honest. It means seeing your flaws without turning away. It means admitting when you've been selfish, lazy, bitter, or weak, not to stay in those places, but to leave them behind. Growth starts with acceptance, not avoidance. When you know who you really are, you can decide who you want to become. You grow when you take responsibility, not for everything, but for what's yours, for your reactions, for your habits, for your priorities. Blaming others might feel good in the moment, but it keeps you powerless. You give away your control every time you say, "I can't because of them." The truth is, most limits are self-imposed. The hard truth is that many people choose comfort over change and then complain about their result. Growth begins when you stop doing that. The most honest people in the world aren't perfect. They just refuse to lie to themselves. They don't sugarcoat their weaknesses. They don't hide behind pride. They let their mistakes teach them. They let failure humble them. They look at where they've fallen short and use it as fuel, not shame. That's what gives them strength. Not a lack of pain, but a willingness to face it. Every difficult truth you face makes you more capable. It teaches you how to handle pressure. It shows you where your limits are and how to break through them. It sharpens your focus. It clears out the noise. When you stop running from discomfort, you start learning from it. You begin to ask better questions. You stop avoiding feedback. You stop needing to be right all the time. You open yourself up to growth in ways that comfort could never offer. There's something powerful about being able to sit with the truth, even when it stings. It means you're not afraid of yourself. It means you're not controlled by ego. It means you're strong enough to admit when you're wrong and wise enough to learn from it. The people who make the biggest changes in life aren't the smartest, they're the most honest. They're the ones who stop pretending and start dealing with life on its real terms. If you feel stuck, the first thing to do is stop lying to yourself. Stop saying you don't have time when you're wasting hours each day. Stop saying you're trying when you know you're giving half your effort. Stop saying you're okay when you're quietly falling apart. Be real with yourself. That's where the healing starts. That's where change begins. You can't grow if your entire focus is on avoiding pain. You can't learn if your main goal is to feel good all the time. Some of the most important lessons are buried in discomfort. That's why few people ever reach them. They turn back too soon. They look for easier paths. But the people who face discomfort directly, who let it shape them instead of scare them, those are the ones who change the most. You don't need to wait for a crisis to get honest. You don't need to hit rock bottom to start changing. You can look at your life right now and ask, what am I avoiding? That question will always point you toward growth. The areas you resist the most are often the ones that hold your greatest breakthroughs. Don't walk away from them. Move toward them. Step into them. Let them teach you. It takes courage to do this. Real courage. Not the kind that looks impressive from the outside, but the kind that takes place quietly within you. The courage to see your own reflection and not flinch. The courage to admit that you've let yourself down. The courage to forgive yourself without making excuses. That kind of courage isn't built overnight, but it is built every time you choose honesty over comfort. You don't become better by avoiding the parts of yourself that need work. You become better by working on them, bit by bit, day by day. That's how you grow. By refusing to turn away from what's hard, by choosing to walk through it, not around it, through it. That's where the change happens. In the middle of the discomfort, in the place where most people quit. You are not weak for having flaws. You are human. What makes you strong is your willingness to face them. What makes you different is your decision to grow through them. Every time you do that, you become a little more grounded, a little more focused, a little more unshakable. That's what facing the truth gives you. Not just knowledge, but power. The power to build a life that's real, a life that's yours, a life that's earned through honesty and shaped by discipline. You don't need to fear the truth. You need to trust that you can handle it. Because you can. You don't need to be perfect to grow. You just need to be willing to feel, willing to face, willing to change. That's how you move forward. Not by escaping the truth, but by walking directly into it, and walking out stronger than you were before. Chapter 5. Apply every lesson to change your daily routine. If your daily routine stays the same, your life stays the same. It doesn't matter how much you've learned, how inspired you feel, or how many goals you've written down, until those lessons are integrated into your daily actions. Nothing changes. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with choices you make every day. You don't need more information. You need to start letting what you've already learned shape the way you live. Change doesn't happen in bursts of motivation. It happens in the quiet structure of your schedule. In the morning when you decide what matters. In the evening when you decide what to leave behind. In the moments you would normally slip into old habits, but choose something better. Your routine is not just a set of tasks. It's the system that holds your values. If you say you value health, but your routine never includes movement or clean eating, then that value isn't real. If you say you care about growth, but spend your free time escaping into entertainment, the truth is buried underneath your behavior. Your habits will always reveal what you truly prioritize. You can argue with your feelings, you can explain your intentions, but your routine is honest. It shows exactly what you do with your time, and time is life. If you want to change your life, you have to change the way your time is spent. You've learned things over the years that can completely transform your future, but if those lessons never become actions, they fade. They disappear into the background. You can carry wisdom in your head, but if it doesn't reach your hands, your feet, your decisions, it's useless. Real learning is measured by how much it shifts your routine. It's not about knowing more, it's about living differently. Applying what you've learned means you're willing to give up old habits that no longer serve you. It means replacing familiar patterns with intentional behavior. It means choosing discomfort over convenience, because that's where growth is found. Most people never change their routine because they're waiting for life to calm down first. They think they'll make time later. They convince themselves they'll get serious next month, or after the next big event, or when things feel more stable, but that moment never comes. There's always something pulling your attention, demanding your energy, offering an excuse. If you want change, you have to build your routine around the lessons that matter to you now, not someday. You take what you've learned, and you use it as a blueprint for your days. If you've learned the importance of boundaries, then build time in your day where you're unreachable. If you've learned how much sleep hacks your focus, then adjust your night routine to protect your rest. If you've learned that clarity comes from writing, then make space to journal each morning. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You just need to make your days reflect what you now understand. Don't underestimate the impact of small adjustments. If you change the first 10 minutes of your day, you change how you show up for everything that follows. If you end your day with reflection instead of distraction, you start waking up with more clarity. If you replace one time-wasting habit with something that challenges you, your whole mindset begins to shift. These aren't huge moves, but they compound. Every small change builds momentum, and over time, that momentum becomes identity. You no longer just know what's right. You live it. You've probably heard the same lessons more than once. That's not the problem. The problem is failing to connect those lessons to your habits. Repetition without application becomes noise. But when you start linking each lesson to your behavior, your learning becomes personal. You're not just agreeing with good ideas. You're becoming someone who embodies them. That shift creates power. You stop relying on motivation to push you. Your routine starts pulling you forward. That's when change becomes sustainable. The truth is, you already know what needs to be different. You've seen how certain habits waste your time. You've felt the energy drain from pointless scrolling, poor eating, shallow conversations, and missed opportunities. You've learned how much better you feel when you move your body. Focus on your goals, respect your time, and protect your mind. So the real work is simple. Build your daily life around those truths. Create a schedule that supports your growth, not one that keeps you distracted. Choose activities that align with your future self, not your past pattern. When you apply what you've learned, your routine becomes a training ground. Each part of the day serves a purpose. You're not just getting through it, you're using it. Your mornings become moments for preparation. Your afternoons become tests of focus. Your evenings become lessons in recovery. And every task, no matter how small, becomes a chance to live out what you value. That's how people who change for good live. Not through random motivation, but through systems they build to support who they want to become. You can't afford to keep separating your wisdom from your schedule. They must become one. If you understand the power of gratitude but never take time to express it, you're not living your lesson. If you've learned that distraction is your enemy but leave your day wide open to interruptions, your routine is still working against you. Every lesson comes with a cost. You either pay that cost by changing your routine, or you pay it later through regret and wasted time. This isn't about being perfect. You don't need to create the ideal day on paper. You need to build something that works in the real world. A routine that holds when you're tired. A system that still functions when things go wrong. Flexibility matters. Life won't always go as planned, but when your foundation is built on applied learning, you become more stable. You don't collapse when the schedule breaks. You adapt without losing progress. That kind of structure comes from experience, not theory. It's time to ask yourself a simple question. How much of what I've learned is actually showing up in my life? Not in what I say, not in what I believe, in what I do every single day. That answer will tell you more than any book ever could. If you want to grow, take that answer seriously. Don't justify what's not working. Change it. Start with one part of your day and make it reflect something important you've learned. Then keep building from there. That's how a life improves. Not in ideas, but in action. Not in words, but in structure. Not in one moment, but in the way you live. Again and again, every day. Chapter 6. Do something small today that improves your future. The future doesn't change with grand gestures or perfect plans. It changes with the small decision you make today to do something meaningful. Most people wait for the right moment to act. They wait until they feel ready, until they're more motivated, until life slows down. But progress doesn't wait. Every day is an opportunity to plant something useful, even if it feels small or insignificant. What you do today might not bring results tomorrow, but it will shape the kind of person you're becoming. One small step toward your future is always better than waiting for the perfect step that never comes. You don't need to have everything figured out, you just need to move. Read one page, practice one skill, clean one corner of your space, make one decision you've been avoiding, write one sentence, choose one habit to improve. Each small action is a vote for the kind of life you say you want, and those votes add up. Not in days, but in weeks, months, and years. The person who takes small actions daily will always outgrow the person who keeps waiting for the ideal plan. Doing something small today teaches you self-respect. It proves you care about your future enough to give it time, even when no one else notices. When you take action, even a little, you build momentum. And momentum matters more than motivation. You won't always feel excited. You won't always feel like trying. But when you act anyway, you develop something much stronger than enthusiasm. You develop consistency. That's what carries you forward when discipline is hard to find. Your future isn't built in one big day of effort. It's built in the small moments you choose not to waste. It's built in the way you treat your free time. It's built in how you use the first 10 minutes after waking up. It's shaped by how you spend the last hour before you sleep. It's defined by whether you use time to grow or escape. The difference between growth and stagnation often comes down to what you do in the time no one else is paying attention to. One small action today could change your direction completely. One honest conversation could clear years of misunderstanding. One walk could begin a health journey you've avoided for years. 1 hour of focused effort could build the foundation of a new skill, but you won't know until you start. Too many people miss their future because they wait for a breakthrough. But breakthroughs don't come out of nowhere, they come from persistence. They come from those who keep showing up when it's not exciting, who keep doing what matters even when the progress is invisible. When you act today, even in a small way, you also quiet the voice of self-doubt. The mind that keeps saying you're not doing enough, not moving fast enough, not good enough, it loses power when you prove it wrong through action. You don't need to silence your fear by thinking, you silence it by doing. One small win can shift your entire mindset. Not because it's big, but because it reminds you that progress is still possible. You might not know where to begin. Start anywhere. Pick something you know needs attention and give it 10 minutes. Don't wait for permission. Don't ask if it's the right time. Act like your future depends on it, because it does. One small step is better than another day of delay. The work doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be honest, consistent, focused. It needs to come from a place of care. Care for the person you are becoming, not the person you've been. A better future doesn't require a bigger goal. It requires a clearer process. What matters is the pattern you repeat. If that pattern is filled with distractions and excuses, your future becomes more of the same. If that pattern includes daily acts of improvement, no matter how small, your future begins to open. Even one habit can start a chain reaction. One new action can replace hours of regret, but it only begins when you stop overthinking and start contributing. There are always things within your control, even on difficult days. You can choose how you spend your next hour. You can choose what you give your attention to. You can choose what you let go of. You can choose what kind of effort you bring. These small decisions may seem unimportant, but they determine where your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your life follows. If you've been stuck, the way out isn't to wait for clarity, it's to move through confusion with action. It's to trust that doing something meaningful, however small, is better than waiting for the fear to disappear. Fear fades when you engage with life. Doubt fades when you prove to yourself that you still have choices. If you want your days to feel different, you have to use them differently. That means choosing to act with intention, even when the outcome is uncertain. No one ever regrets doing the small things that move them forward. People regret the time they wasted talking themselves out of those small things. Don't let that be your story. Don't let hesitation become a habit. Build the habit of showing up for yourself. Start now. You don't need to do something extraordinary. You need to do something useful, something honest, something future you will thank you for. Even if you don't feel ready, take the step. The truth is, no one feels ready for growth. Readiness comes after you've begun, not before. And sometimes the smallest step today is all it takes to shift your entire direction. You just have to care enough about who you could be to act before you see the full result. Today is a blank page. Use it. Don't wait for the perfect word. Write something true. Live something real. Build something better, one small act at a time. Chapter 7. Train your mind to focus on what matters. Your attention is the most valuable thing you own. Wherever it goes, your energy follows. Your time, your emotions, your actions, all of it depends on what you focus on. If your mind is scattered, your life will be scattered. If your mind is clear, your actions will be clear. What you choose to focus on every day quietly builds the shape of your life, and yet, most people go through their days without training their mind to stay on what actually matters. They let distractions win. They give their best attention to things that don't move them forward. They drift into mental habits that take them nowhere and wonder why they feel overwhelmed, stuck, or empty. But this is not permanent. Focus is not a gift you're born with. It's a skill, and like any skill, it can be trained. Training your mind begins with noticing where it goes. When you're not paying attention, pay close attention to your own patterns. What do you think about when you wake up? Where does your attention go when you feel bored, anxious, or tired? How much time do you spend worrying about things you can't control? How much space in your mind is occupied by noise that adds no value to your life? If you don't ask yourself these questions, your focus will keep being stolen. Your energy will keep being wasted, and you won't know why. You can't control every thought that comes into your mind, but you can control which ones you give power to. You can choose not to feed the thoughts that distract you. You can choose to bring your attention back when it wanders. That choice is the beginning of mental discipline, and discipline is what allows you to focus, not just for a moment, but for a lifetime. Focusing on what matters doesn't mean ignoring the rest of the world. It means deciding what is worth your time and what isn't. It means separating what truly builds you from what simply keeps you busy. It means saying no to things that steal your time just because they're easy, comfortable, or popular. You don't need to be available to every notification. You don't need to keep checking your phone every 10 minutes. You don't need to respond to every opinion that crosses your path. Every time you give your attention away to something meaningless, you rob yourself of depth. Depth is where progress happens. You can't build anything meaningful by constantly shifting your focus. You can't become better if you're always reacting. You can't develop clarity if you never give your mind space to think. When your mind is trained to stay with what matters, you begin to see how much time you used to waste. You start to notice how often you were pulled in 5 different directions and getting nowhere. You begin to feel more grounded, more present, more aligned with your own priorities. Training your focus starts with simple acts. Wake up and ask yourself what matters most today. Then remind yourself of that throughout the day. When your mind starts to drift, bring it back. When you feel the urge to escape into distractions, pause. When you catch yourself overthinking or getting stuck in thoughts that serve no purpose, interrupt them. Bring your focus back to action, back to something real. Over time, this becomes a habit. You stop chasing every mental impulse and start choosing your direction. This isn't about becoming robotic. It's about becoming intentional. It's about giving your full presence to the task in front of you, whether that task is working, resting, creating, thinking, or simply listening to someone speak. Your ability to give your full focus is what determines the quality of that moment. And the quality of your moments becomes the quality of your life. The world is full of noise. You are surrounded by people, platforms, and products designed to steal your attention. Every one of them is promising something urgent, exciting, or important. But not everything that grabs your focus deserves it. The ability to resist this pull, to choose what you will focus on, and for how long, is a form of power, and most people give that power away without realizing it. Start reclaiming your mind. Spend more time doing things that require real thought. Read more deeply. Think longer before you speak. Finish what you start. Create space in your day where nothing distracts you. Build the habit of being fully present in whatever you're doing, even if it's something simple. This is how you train focus, not just through silence, but through deliberate action. Be mindful of your digital habits. The way you use your phone is a direct reflection of how you use your mind. Constant scrolling weakens your attention span. Constant switching between apps destroys your patience. Constant stimulation makes you intolerant of boredom. And boredom is not the enemy. It's where original thinking is born. If you can't sit still with your own thoughts, how can you expect to do anything that requires depth? Focus also means aligning your mind with your values. What you think about most should reflect what matters most to you. If your mind is filled with worry, drama, and doubt, it's time to clear space. Replace shallow thinking with intentional questions. What matters to me right now? What can I do today to honor that? What thoughts are helping me, and which ones are draining me? These questions help reset your focus. They remind your mind that it has a job to serve your future, not sabotage it. You can't train your mind once and expect it to stay focused forever. Like the body, the mind needs constant discipline. It needs daily reminders. It needs space to reset. It needs you to stop feeding it junk and start giving it what strengthens it. That might mean fewer inputs, less noise, more stillness, more reflection, fewer conversations that go nowhere, more effort toward what builds you. If you want peace, you need a focused mind. If you want progress, you need directed attention. If you want clarity, you need space to think. These things aren't found by accident. They're created, and the way you create them is by choosing every day to train your mind to serve your highest priorities, not your lowest impulses. You are not at the mercy of your distractions. You are not powerless against your thoughts. You have the ability to direct your attention with intention. You have the right to protect your time and energy. You have the choice to build a life rooted in focus instead of scattered effort. But that life begins with how you train your mind. What you focus on expands. So choose wisely. Focus not on what's loud, but on what's lasting. Not on what's urgent, but on what's essential. Not on everything, but on what truly matters. Chapter 8. Challenge yourself to finish what you begin. Starting something is easy. Finishing it is where the real work begins. Most people never reach their goals, not because they don't have the talent or the intelligence, but because they never push through the middle. They give up when the effort gets boring. They stop when progress slows down. They switch to something new. The moment discomfort shows up. But if you want to grow, you need to train yourself to follow through. You need to become the kind of person who finishes what they start. Not for the outcome, but for the strength it builds in you. Finishing something you started is an act of self-respect. It means your word matters. It means you follow through on your own decisions. It means you don't treat your commitments like suggestions. Every time you complete something, you reinforce the belief that you are dependable. That belief becomes confidence. Not the fake kind that comes from hype or praise, but the kind that's earned through action. Quitting feels easy in the moment, but it leaves a weight behind. You carry that unfinished task with you. You remember what you said you'd do and didn't. You know deep down that you chose the easier path. That kind of weight builds up over time. It drains your energy. It damages your self-trust. It makes you hesitate the next time you want to start something new. Because some part of you remembers all the things you've walked away from. You don't need to finish everything perfectly. You just need to finish with effort and honesty. Even if the result isn't what you imagined, the act of finishing builds discipline. It teaches you to keep going when the excitement fades. It shows you how to stay grounded when your motivation disappears. It builds the habit of perseverance, which is the foundation of all long-term growth. Sometimes the reason we don't finish what we start is because we set the bar too high. We make goals so big that the weight of them crushes our progress. But finishing doesn't have to mean achieving something massive. It can mean completing what you committed to today. It can mean seeing a task through to the end, even when it's hard. It can mean doing your best with what you have instead of chasing perfection. Progress lives in completion, not in constant resets. When you leave too many things unfinished, your mind becomes cluttered. You're always thinking about what you haven't done. You're always remembering what you put off. That mental noise steals your focus and weakens your momentum. Finishing clears that space. It creates closure. It lets your mind rest and move on. That clarity is powerful. It makes room for new growth. It allows you to build the next step without dragging the weight of incomplete efforts behind you. Finishing also teaches you patience. It forces you to move through the slow parts, the boring parts, the hard parts. It shows you how to work without excitement. It gives you the chance to rely on structure instead of emotion. In a world obsessed with speed, learning to stay with something is rare, but that's what makes it valuable. Anyone can start something. Few will see it through. If you choose to finish what you begin, You already set yourself apart. You don't need to rely on willpower alone. Build systems that support completion. Break tasks into smaller pieces. Set clear timelines. Create checkpoints. Track your progress. Remove distractions that tempt you to quit early. Treat finishing like a skill. Practice it until it becomes part of who you are. The more you finish, the more natural it becomes. Some people avoid finishing because they're afraid of the result. They fear failing. They fear not being good enough. They fear being judged, so they keep themselves safe in the space between starting and ending. But growth doesn't live in safety. It lives in facing those fears and finishing anyway. Let the result be whatever it is. Your worth isn't measured by how impressive the outcome is. It's measured by your ability to honor your process. Every project you leave undone is a lesson half learned. Every habit you abandon too soon is a transformation unfinished. Every promise you break to yourself chips away at your own strength. You don't need to punish yourself for quitting. You need to understand what it costs. Because the price of never finishing is a life of unfinished potential. There will always be moments when quitting seems easier, when the goal feels far, when distractions feel more comfortable. That's the moment to pause and remind yourself why you began. Connect to the reason that pushed you to start in the first place. Even if that reason has changed, find a new one. Stay connected to the purpose. Purpose gives pain meaning, and when the discomfort has meaning, you can push through it. Finishing doesn't mean you never rest. It doesn't mean you grind until you burn out. It means you pace yourself. It means you stay consistent. It means you stop abandoning yourself when the work isn't exciting anymore. Rest when needed. Recover when necessary. But return, always return. Completion is not about speed. It's about staying with something long enough for it to grow. You train yourself to finish by doing it again and again. Start with something small. Choose one task you've been putting off. Decide to see it through. Block out time. Remove distractions. Focus only on finishing, not perfecting. Then do it again tomorrow. Repeat that rhythm. Build a streak. Let the identity of someone who follows through take root in you. Your future depends on your ability to complete things. Every goal, every vision, every dream requires the skill of finishing. Without it, your ideas stay ideas. Your plans stay on paper. Your effort stays scattered. But when you learn to finish, you create something real. You build a record of action. You make progress that doesn't fade. You shape a version of yourself who is reliable, disciplined, and capable of achieving what they decide to begin. It won't always be comfortable. Some days you'll feel like giving up. But growth doesn't wait for comfort. It waits for commitment. If you show up and stay with it, you'll learn to trust yourself more than ever before. That trust becomes the fuel for everything you build next. So challenge yourself. Not to be perfect, not to always win, but to finish. Finish because it's who you are. Finish because it's how you grow. Finish because it's how you grow. Finish because your future deserves it. Chapter 9. Learn by doing instead of just reading more. Knowledge alone doesn't change your life. Action does. You can read every book, listen to every expert, and collect thousands of ideas, but unless you apply what you learn, you will stay exactly where you are. Reading more is useful only if it leads to doing more. Most people get stuck in the trap of collecting knowledge. They read to feel like they're progressing, but they rarely step outside their mind and into the world where growth actually happens. Growth doesn't come from what you understand in theory. It comes from what you're willing to practice. Reading can prepare you. It can guide you, But at some point, you need to close the book and take the risk. You need to stop learning passively and start experiencing directly. It's only through trying, failing, adjusting, and repeating that true understanding is built. Action is what gives meaning to what you've read. It reveals what works, what doesn't, what's missing, and what's possible. Until then, the knowledge you've gathered is just weight you carry. Learning by doing teaches you things no book ever can. It teaches you how to think in motion. It shows you your blind spots. It exposes your habits, your beliefs, your fears. It makes you face resistance you didn't know was there. It gives you real data about yourself and the world. That kind of learning sticks. It becomes part of your experience, not just something you heard or read once. It shapes the way you move through life. The mind loves comfort. It loves the idea of growth more than the work of growth. That's why it's easier to keep reading, keep planning, keep preparing, without ever committing to action. But preparation without execution becomes avoidance. It's a way to delay responsibility. It's a way to protect yourself from failure. But in trying to avoid failure, you also avoid progress. You miss the lessons that only show up when you take a real step forward. Every skill you've ever admired came from someone who practiced more than they studied. They didn't wait until they were ready. They didn't spend all their time gathering knowledge. They learned through action. They learned by getting things wrong, facing real challenges, and staying with the process. That's how mastery is developed. Not in ideas, but in experience. Doing doesn't mean you ignore learning. It means you use learning as fuel for action, not as a substitute for it. You learn just enough to begin. Then you learn more by engaging directly. When you face problems through real effort, you discover gaps in your understanding. Then when you return to the books or the lessons, you see them differently. You know what to look for. You learn with more depth because you have something real to connect it to. Some people wait until they feel like they've learned enough. They keep saying they'll start once they understand more. But that day never comes. There's always something more to learn. And the truth is, you never really know something until you live it. The fear of not knowing enough is just another way the mind avoids growth. The only way to break through that fear is to act anyway, even if you feel unsure. Doing something doesn't require perfection. It requires courage. It requires a willingness to feel uncomfortable. It requires accepting that progress is messy and uncertain. But what you gain through doing, confidence, clarity, resilience, is far more valuable than what you gain through endless reading. There is a difference between knowing about something and knowing how to do something. Knowing about health is not the same as showing up for your workouts. Knowing about communication is not the same as having hard conversations. Knowing about mindset is not the same as facing your mental blocks head-on. You can understand something deeply and still be stuck if you never translate that understanding into action. When you start doing, even in small ways, your entire relationship with learning changes. You become less interested in theory and more interested in results. You become more focused on what works for you, not just what sounds smart. You develop a bias for execution. You start to see every challenge as an opportunity to learn something new, not through reading, but through experience. This mindset builds momentum. The more you do, the more feedback you get. The more feedback you get, the faster you grow. And with each small action, you prove to yourself that you're not just someone who knows, you're someone who moves. That identity shift is what makes real transformation possible. Don't wait until you feel like an expert. Start where you are. Take what you've already learned and put it to work. Experiment. Build. Practice. Observe. Adjust. That's how you turn information into results. That's how you shift from being a thinker to being a doer. And that's where real confidence comes from. Not from how much you know, but from what you've done with what you know. There will always be more to learn. That's the nature of growth. But don't use that as an excuse to keep delaying action. Learn just enough to take the next step. Then take it. Learn just enough to solve today's problem. Then solve it. That rhythm of learning and doing is what creates sustainable progress. Every time you choose action over delay, you get stronger. Every time you choose to practice instead of just study, you get closer to mastery. Every time you put knowledge into motion, you shape your future in a way that no amount of reading can do for you. Stop asking what more you need to learn. Start asking what you've already learned that you haven't used yet. That question alone can open a new path forward. Your potential is not limited by how much you know, it's limited by how much you apply. Start putting your ideas to work, build things, test habits, engage with life directly. Learn from the world by being part of it, not just observing it from the sideline. Every step you take, no matter how small, is worth more than 100 steps you only thought about. Progress lives in the doing, growth lives in the challenge, and wisdom lives in the experience. Chapter 10. Push past fear by taking one bold step. Fear is a powerful force. It can freeze your body, cloud your mind, and convince you that staying still is safer than moving forward. But fear isn't the enemy. Fear is a signal. It tells you that something important is on the line. It means you're standing at the edge of growth. If you let fear stop you, you remain in place. If you push past it, you enter a new realm of possibility. The moment you decide to take one bold step despite your fear, you start breaking free from its hold. Taking that first step is the hardest part. It feels like jumping into the unknown without a safety net. Your mind floods with worst-case scenarios, doubts, and what-ifs. This flood can overwhelm you into paralysis. But the truth is, you don't need to see the whole path to move forward. You only need to see the next step. One action that shifts you from fear to movement. One choice that tells your body and mind that courage is stronger than hesitation. Boldness doesn't mean recklessness. It means courage mixed with clarity. It means understanding the risk but choosing progress anyway. It means acting in spite of uncertainty. Fear will always be present when you're doing something meaningful, because meaningful things challenge your comfort zone. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't that they don't feel fear. It's that they refuse to let fear dictate their actions. One bold step can change everything. It cracks open the door to new experiences and possibilities. It builds momentum. When you act, you prove to yourself that fear isn't a barrier, but a threshold to cross. Each step forward weakens the power of fear. Each step rewires your mind to trust your ability to handle discomfort. That trust is the foundation for greater boldness and bigger actions. You don't need to start with a huge leap. The size of the step isn't what matters most, it's that you take it. That first bold move might be as simple as starting a difficult conversation, applying for a job you want, sending an important message, or trying something you've avoided. The key is to act despite the discomfort. The key is to say yes to growth even when fear says no. Fear wants you to believe that staying where you are is safe. But safety is often an illusion. Staying stuck breeds regret, frustration, and a shrinking sense of possibility. Boldness opens the door to freedom. It lets you live by your own terms rather than the limits fear sets for you. When you take one bold step, you reclaim power over your own life. Your body reacts to fear with tension and resistance. This is natural. Recognizing this response helps you accept fear instead of fighting it. Instead of waiting for fear to disappear, Learn to move with it. Let the tension remind you that you're alive and growing. Use the energy fear creates to fuel your action rather than block it. Building courage is like building a muscle. It grows stronger with use. The more bold steps you take, the easier it becomes to take the next one. You learn that discomfort is temporary. You learn that you can handle uncertainty. You learn that your fears are often exaggerated stories your mind tells to keep you safe. When you practice pushing through fear regularly, it loses its grip on your life. You might worry about failing or making mistakes. These worries are natural, but they shouldn't stop you. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of success. Mistakes aren't signs of weakness, they're lessons. When you push past fear, you open yourself up to learning and growth that fear would otherwise block. You discover strength you didn't know you had. You find new paths you couldn't see before. Taking a bold step requires preparation, but not perfection. You don't need to be ready. You just need to be willing. Willingness is the key to unlocking your courage. It means committing to move forward even if you feel afraid, uncertain, or imperfect. Willingness accepts that discomfort is part of the journey, but refuses to let it stop progress. Visualize the moment you take that step. Imagine the sense of relief and pride that follows. Imagine how that one act sets off a chain reaction of growth. Feel the energy of movement replacing hesitation. This mental rehearsal can prepare your mind to act when the moment arrives. It strengthens your resolve and quiets the excuses fear uses to hold you back. Remember that you are not alone in feeling fear. Every successful person has faced it. Every brave person has felt it. The difference is they didn't wait for fear to pass. They moved through it. Their courage wasn't born from absence of fear, but from commitment to their purpose. Your courage can be the same. Challenge yourself today to take one bold step. Identify what fear has held you back from. Name the action you've avoided because it feels risky or uncomfortable. Now decide to do it anyway. Break it down if needed. Prepare as best as you can. Then act. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect condition. Act in faith that the next step is the right step. Taking bold steps changes your relationship with fear. It teaches you that fear signals opportunity, not danger. It shifts your mindset from avoidance to engagement. It builds resilience that carries you through challenges, and it creates a life where you are the one leading, not the one held back. Boldness opens doors. It reveals strength. It builds confidence. But it begins with one step, one moment where you choose courage over comfort, one moment where you push past the noise of doubt and choose action. When you do this, you take control of your story. You decide what's possible. You become unstoppable. Fear loses its power when you move forward anyway. The path is yours to walk. Take the first step. Chapter 11. Create progress every day with simple hard work. Progress is not about grand gestures or overnight success. It comes from simple hard work done consistently, every day. When most people think of progress, they imagine dramatic breakthroughs or sudden moments of inspiration. The reality is far more grounded. Real progress is built from steady effort, from the small tasks completed when no one is watching, from the daily discipline to do what needs to be done regardless of mood or circumstance. This kind of work is not glamorous or exciting, but it is powerful. It transforms dreams into reality. Hard work isn't about pushing yourself to exhaustion. It's about showing up regularly and putting in honest effort. Even when the results aren't immediately visible, every bit of effort adds up. When you commit to this, you develop resilience. You train your mind and body to keep moving forward, even when motivation fades. This consistency creates a momentum that carries you through the tough days and amplifies your progress on the good days. There is beauty in the process of simple hard work. It teaches patience and humility. It helps you focus on what's within your control. The work you put in today, you stop waiting for perfect conditions or for the right feeling to come. You learn to act regardless of how you feel. This skill of persistence becomes one of your greatest assets. It makes you reliable, strong, and capable of achieving what you set your mind to. Daily progress also reshapes your self-image. When you commit to doing the work every day, you start to see yourself differently. You become someone who gets things done, someone who honors their commitments, someone who doesn't give up easily. This identity is the foundation of confidence. It's harder to doubt yourself when you have proof in your own actions. To create progress every day, focus on what's essential. Identify the tasks that truly move you forward, and dedicate your energy to them. Avoid the temptation to fill your time with busy work or distractions. Quality over quantity matters. Even small actions matter when they are consistent and purposeful. Breaking big goals into manageable steps makes the work feel less overwhelming and keeps you motivated. Hard work requires discipline but also balance. It's not about burning out, it's about sustainable effort. Know when to rest and recharge so that you can show up fully the next day. Use breaks strategically to avoid fatigue, but never use rest as an excuse to avoid effort. Find the rhythm that allows you to maintain steady progress without sacrificing your health or well-being. Celebrate the small wins along the way. Recognize the value of each completed task. These small victories build momentum and keep your motivation alive. They remind you that progress is happening even when the finish line feels distant. This mindset shift helps you stay positive and persistent. Hard work also builds skill. Every time you practice, you improve. Even if the progress feels slow, you are developing expertise that compounds over time. Patience is critical here. Skill growth rarely happens in leaps. It is a gradual climb. Trust the process and keep working. The results will follow. Avoid comparing your progress to others. Everyone's journey is unique. Focus on your own growth and respect your own pace. Comparison often leads to frustration and discouragement, which can derail your efforts. Instead, use others' success as inspiration, not as a benchmark to measure yourself against. Accountability helps maintain hard work. Share your goals with someone who supports you. Check in regularly to report progress. Accountability creates external motivation that strengthens your internal drive. It keeps you honest and focused, especially when self-motivation wanes. Remember that hard work doesn't guarantee immediate success. Sometimes your efforts will seem invisible. This is the nature of growth. Not every action produces instant rewards. Trust that your consistent work is planting seeds for future breakthroughs. Stay committed even when you can't see the fruits yet. Hard work also builds character. It teaches you to overcome challenges, face discomfort, and develop grit. These qualities extend beyond any one goal. They shape you into a person capable of handling whatever life throws your way. This inner strength becomes the backbone of long-term success. Be mindful of your mindset around hard work. See it as a privilege rather than a burden. Choose to embrace effort as a necessary part of growth and self-improvement. This attitude shifts your relationship with work and makes it more sustainable and even enjoyable. Set clear intentions for your daily work. Know why you're doing what you're doing. Connect your effort to a purpose that matters to you. Purpose fuels persistence. It turns hard work from a chore into a meaningful practice. When your work aligns with your values, progress feels fulfilling. Learn to manage distractions and stay focused during your work time. Eliminate unnecessary interruptions. Create an environment that supports concentration. Use tools and techniques to maintain attention and energy. Focused effort multiplies the impact of your hard work. Track your progress in a tangible way. Use journals, apps, or checklists to see how far you've come. Visual evidence of progress boosts morale and reinforces your commitment. It helps you identify patterns and adjust your approach if needed. Be flexible in your approach. Hard work doesn't mean rigid stubbornness. Adapt your strategies based on feedback and results. Learn from mistakes and be willing to change course. Smart work combined with hard work creates the best outcomes. Surround yourself with people who value effort and consistency. Community influences your habits and mindset. Being around others who work hard daily inspires you to keep going and provides support during challenges. Finally, remember that every great achievement started with simple hard work done day after day. There are no shortcuts that replace genuine effort. The people you admire who reached high levels of success earned it through consistent work over time. You can follow the same path. Embrace hard work as your ally. Let it guide you steadily toward your goals. Know that every action, no matter how small, builds your future. With persistence and patience, simple hard work creates progress that lasts a lifetime. Chapter 12. Take full control of how you spend time. Time is your most valuable asset. Every moment you have is a resource that once spent cannot be recovered. Taking full control of how you spend your time is not about rigid schedules or endless to-do lists. It's about making conscious choices every day about where your attention and energy go. When you decide to manage your time fully, you reclaim your power over your life. You stop letting external demands and distractions dictate your path, and instead become the architect of your own priorities. The first step to taking control of time is understanding how you currently use it. Most people spend their days reacting to whatever comes up, jumping from one task to another without a clear plan. This kind of living leaves you exhausted and unfulfilled. Becoming aware of your habits reveals where your time leaks away through distractions, unnecessary tasks, or default behaviors that don't serve your goals. This awareness is not about guilt but about clarity. Clarity gives you a choice. Once you see where your time is going, you can start directing it intentionally. Start by identifying what matters most to you. What are the activities that align with your values and push you toward your goals? These are the moments that deserve your attention. When you know what's important, it becomes easier to say no to what isn't. Saying no is a powerful skill that protects your time and energy. Every no you say is a yes to something greater. Setting clear boundaries is essential to managing time effectively. This means creating limits around how and when you work, rest, and connect with others. Boundaries guard your time from interruptions and distractions. They help you focus deeply on the task at hand. When you respect your own limits, you teach others to respect them as well. This leads to healthier relationships and more productive days. Planning your time doesn't require complicated tools or rigid routines. Simple habits can make a huge difference. Take a moment each day to decide your top priority. Choose a few key actions that will move you forward and commit to them. Break your day into focused blocks of time dedicated to these priorities. During these blocks, eliminate distractions and immerse yourself fully. This approach creates flow and maximizes your effectiveness. Time control also means being mindful of how you use downtime. Rest is not wasted time, it's fuel for sustained effort. Taking breaks, sleeping well, and engaging in activities that refresh your mind and body improve your overall productivity. When you respect rest as part of your time management, you avoid burnout and keep your energy steady. Technology can be both a tool and a trap. Use devices intentionally rather than letting them control your attention. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Set limits on social media and entertainment. Choose tools that support your goals and simplify your life. When technology serves you, it becomes a powerful ally in managing your time. Practice saying no to urgent but unimportant requests. These demands often steal your time and distract you from what really matters. Learn to pause before reacting. Evaluate if the request aligns with your priorities. If it doesn't, politely decline or delegate it. Protecting your time requires courage and clarity. Develop routines that support your goals. Habits reduce decision fatigue and create automatic momentum. When you structure your day around positive habits, you spend less energy choosing what to do and more energy doing it. This frees your mind for creative and strategic thinking. Time control is also about flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and unexpected events will happen. Adapt your plan without losing sight of your priorities. Flexibility means adjusting without abandoning your commitment to purposeful time use. It's about bending without breaking. Reflect regularly on how you spend your time. End each day or week by reviewing what worked and what didn't. This reflection helps you learn and improve your time management habits. It also reinforces your commitment to intentional living. Accountability helps maintain control over your time. Share your goals and schedules with someone you trust. Regular check-ins keep you honest and motivated. Knowing someone else cares about your progress encourages you to stay focused. Taking control of your time strengthens your self-discipline. It teaches you to resist temptations and stay aligned with your long-term vision. This discipline builds confidence and reduces stress, because you know you are moving in the right direction. Remember that time is limited. Procrastination is a thief that steals your future. The longer you delay taking control, the more opportunities you lose. Start now by making small changes that improve your time use. Each step toward better control compounds over time. Your relationship with time shapes your life's quality and direction. When you master your time, you master your life. You create space for what matters, grow in areas you choose, and build a future that reflects your true priorities. Choose today to take full control of how you spend your time. Make conscious decisions. Set clear boundaries. Protect your focus. Respect rest. Use technology wisely. Say no when needed. Build supportive routines. Reflect and adjust. Seek accountability. And above all, act with purpose. Your time is your life. Own it fully and watch how everything changes. Chapter 13. Live the values you believe, not just speak them. Beliefs shape the foundation of who you are, but living by those beliefs is what gives them real power. Words alone cannot carry the weight of your values. If you claim to believe in honesty, kindness, or hard work, those ideals need to show up in your daily actions. The true measure of your character is not what you say, but what you do when no one else is watching. Living your values requires courage, consistency, and self-awareness. It demands that you become a person who embodies the principles you hold dear, rather than merely speaking about them. It's easy to talk about values. Society encourages us to express what we stand for. But many people fall into the trap of using values as labels instead of guides. They identify with noble ideas, but fail to translate them into their behaviors. This gap between belief and action creates internal conflict and undermines your integrity. Living your values is about closing that gap. It means aligning your choices, habits, and interactions with the truths you claim to uphold. One of the first steps toward living your values is clarity. Know exactly what you stand for. Take time to reflect honestly on your core principles. Write them down if it helps. These values are your compass. They help you make decisions and guide your behavior when situations get difficult. Without clear values, it's easy to drift with external pressures or fall into habits that don't serve your true self. Once your values are clear, observe how you act in daily life. Are your actions consistent with those values? Notice where you compromise or avoid living them fully. These moments aren't failures, but opportunities for growth. Each time you catch yourself out of alignment, you have a chance to correct. Core self-awareness and honest reflection build the bridge between belief and behavior. Living your values also means making tough choices. You will face situations where your values challenge convenience, popularity, or comfort. Standing by your principles in these moments is what builds real character. It's easy to be kind when it's effortless, but true kindness shines when it requires patience or sacrifice. It's simple to be honest when there's no cost, but honesty's value is proven when it risks criticism or loss. These challenges test your commitment and deepen your integrity. Consistency is key. Values are not a one-time statement, but a daily practice. Every choice you make adds to or subtracts from the story of who you are. Small decisions count as much as big ones. Showing respect in everyday conversations, keeping promises, and acting responsibly even in minor matters, all reflect your values in action. This steady alignment builds trust with yourself and others. Your environment influences how easily you live your values. Surround yourself with people who share or respect your principles. Their example and support help reinforce your commitment. Conversely, toxic environments can pressure you to compromise or hide your values. Choose relationships and settings that encourage your growth and authenticity. Living your values requires resilience. You will make mistakes. You will face moments when acting according to your beliefs feels exhausting or risky. This is natural. Growth is not about perfection, but persistence. Each time you recommit after a setback, you strengthen your ability to live authentically. Embodying your values changes how others see you. People are drawn to those whose actions match their words. This authenticity creates respect and meaningful connections. When you live your values, you inspire others to do the same without saying a word. Your life becomes a silent testimony of your beliefs. Actively practicing your values also deepens your understanding of them. Values aren't static ideas, but living principles that grow with experience. As you apply them in real life, you discover nuances and lessons that expand your wisdom. This process makes your values richer and more relevant to your unique journey. Sometimes you'll discover that some of your stated values no longer fit who you are or who you want to become. That's okay. Authenticity means revisiting and refining your beliefs as you evolve. The goal isn't rigid adherence, but honest alignment with your current self. This ongoing process is a sign of maturity and self-respect. Being true to your values builds inner peace. When your actions reflect your beliefs, you feel congruent and whole. This harmony reduces inner conflict and anxiety. It brings a quiet confidence that doesn't depend on external validation. Living authentically creates a foundation for resilience. In facing life's challenges, start by choosing one value to focus on living more fully. Identify specific actions that express this value daily. Set intentions and hold yourself accountable. Notice the impact on your mindset and relationships. This focused practice builds momentum to bring all your values into alignment over time. Remember that your values don't need to be grand or complex. Simple principles like kindness, honesty, responsibility, or patience carry immense power when lived consistently. Don't underestimate the impact of everyday actions rooted in your values. Living your values requires courage because it makes you vulnerable. You risk judgment, failure, or rejection. But this vulnerability is the path to genuine connection and fulfillment. When you live openly, according to your beliefs, you invite others to know the real you. Your values are not a checklist, but a way of being. They shape your habits, choices, and interactions moment by moment. The more you practice, the more natural living your values become. Over time, your actions will speak louder than words and define your legacy. Commit to living your values fully. Choose to be a person of integrity who acts with intention. Reject the temptation to merely talk about who you want to be. Show up authentically in every moment. This commitment transforms your life and deepens your impact on the world. Your beliefs deserve action. Your values deserve to be lived. When you align what you say with what you do, you step into your true power. This alignment is the foundation of a meaningful and fulfilled life. Make today the day you stop speaking your values and start living them with courage and consistency. Chapter 14. Strengthen discipline through daily personal promises kept. Discipline is the backbone of meaningful progress and lasting success. It is not something we are simply born with, but a skill that can be developed and strengthened over time. One of the most effective ways to build discipline is through the practice of making and keeping personal promises every day. These promises are commitments you make to yourself, small but significant agreements that reinforce your ability to follow through, build trust with yourself, and grow your inner strength. When you keep a promise to yourself, you send a powerful message to your mind and heart. You prove that you are reliable, that your word matters, and that your goals are worth honoring. Each promise kept becomes a building block of discipline, shaping your habits and your character. The process starts small. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Instead, focus on manageable commitments that you can realistically fulfill daily. These small wins build momentum and make discipline a natural part of your routine. Creating personal promises begins with clarity. Decide what matters most to you and identify specific actions that support those priorities. It could be as simple as promising to wake up at a certain time, drink enough water, read for 10 minutes, or complete one focused work session. These daily promises become touch points for discipline. By consistently honoring them, you train yourself to act with intention and resist impulses that lead to distraction or procrastination. Accountability to yourself is crucial. Many people rely solely on external accountability, such as deadlines or pressure from others. While these can be helpful, true discipline grows from internal commitment. When you make a promise only to yourself and keep it, you strengthen your self-trust. This inner accountability is more sustainable because it isn't dependent on anyone else's involvement. You become your own reliable guide. Discipline built through personal promises also reduces decision fatigue. When you decide in advance what you will do and commit to it, you remove the burden of constant choice throughout the day. This clarity conserves mental energy, allowing you to focus fully on execution. The routine of fulfilling your promises becomes automatic, freeing you to channel your effort toward growth rather than struggle. Challenges will arise, and there will be days when fulfilling your promises feels difficult or inconvenient. Discipline is tested most in these moments. It's natural to want to give in to comfort or distraction, but pushing through strengthens your resilience. Each time you overcome resistance and keep a promise, your discipline muscle grows stronger. You learn that commitment is a choice that matters more than fleeting feeling. Honesty with yourself is vital. If you fail to keep a promise, don't judge yourself harshly or give up. Instead, analyze what caused the slip and adjust your approach. Maybe the promise was too ambitious, or your environment made it harder. Use setbacks as learning opportunities and recommit with renewed clarity. This process of reflection and adjustment keeps your discipline flexible and realistic. Tracking your promises helps maintain focus and motivation. Use a journal app or checklist to record your daily commitments and mark when you follow through. Seeing your progress visually reinforces your efforts and creates a sense of achievement. This habit of tracking also reveals patterns, helping you identify strengths and areas for improvement. Discipline through promises is deeply tied to your identity. Every promise you keep strengthens your belief in yourself as a person who follows through. Over time, This identity becomes automatic. You don't have to fight yourself to act because discipline becomes part of who you are. This shift from effortful willpower to natural habit makes sustained progress much easier. Building discipline with personal promises also improves your ability to handle bigger challenges. When your daily commitments are solid, you develop confidence to take on more complex goals. Discipline becomes scalable. The habits you build through small promises create a foundation that supports larger ambitions and more significant responsibilities. Self-compassion plays an important role in this journey. Discipline is not about perfection but persistence. Being kind to yourself when you struggle prevents burnout and discouragement. Encourage yourself as you would a close friend, celebrate progress, and remind yourself that growth is a process. This positive mindset nurtures sustainable discipline. Surround yourself with reminders of your promises and reasons for commitment. Visual cues, notes, or routines can keep your focus sharp throughout the day. Environment shapes behavior. Design your surroundings to support your discipline by minimizing distractions and creating spaces dedicated to fulfilling your promises. The practice of daily personal promises extends beyond tasks. It also includes commitments to your mindset and emotion. Promises to practice patience, gratitude, or calmness build mental discipline. When you hold yourself accountable for how you respond emotionally, you strengthen your ability to remain steady under pressure and make wise choices. As discipline grows through keeping promises, you experience a deeper sense of freedom. Ironically, discipline is not restrictive, but liberating. It frees you from chaos, indecision, and self-doubt. It creates a clear path forward and empowers you to live intentionally. This freedom fuels further commitment and success. To get started, choose 1 or 2 promises today. Make them clear, specific, and achievable. Write them down and set a reminder. When the moment comes to act, focus fully on following through. Notice how fulfilling these promises affects your confidence and mindset. Build from there. Ultimately, discipline is a daily practice. It requires consistent effort, reflection, and kindness toward yourself. Through the steady habit of making and keeping personal promises, you forge the character needed to pursue your goals relentlessly. This discipline becomes the foundation of a life well lived, productive, purposeful, and empowered. Commit to this practice and watch how it transforms your ability to grow, achieve, and become the person you want to be. Chapter 15. Act on feedback instead of getting defensive now. Receiving feedback is one of the most valuable tools for personal growth, yet it is often met with resistance and defensiveness. The natural impulse when confronted with criticism or suggestions is to protect ourselves, to argue, or to shut down. However, true strength lies in shifting this reaction and choosing to act on feedback thoughtfully and constructively. This shift transforms feedback from a source of discomfort into a catalyst for improvement. Acting on feedback requires humility, courage, and a commitment to growth that overrides the ego's need for protection. When feedback arrives, it is important to pause before responding. Instead of reacting emotionally or immediately defending your position, take a moment to listen fully. Listening deeply means not just hearing the words, but understanding the intention behind them. Feedback is often given with the hope of helping you become better. Embracing this perspective reduces the tendency to take comments personally and opens you to valuable insights. The difference between defensive and constructive responses lies in mindset. Defensiveness is rooted in fear of judgment, rejection, or failure. It focuses on protecting your image or proving yourself right. Acting on feedback comes from a growth mindset, which values learning over ego preservation. This mindset recognizes that no one is perfect and that every piece of feedback is an opportunity to learn something new about yourself and your actions. To act on feedback, start by separating the message from the delivery. Sometimes feedback is not communicated in the best way. The tone may feel harsh or the wording unclear. Instead of dismissing feedback due to delivery, extract the useful information beneath. Focus on the content rather than the manner in which it was shared. Next, reflect honestly on the feedback. Ask yourself questions like, what is true here? How can I use this to improve? What specific changes can I make? This process requires vulnerability because it asks you to confront areas where you might be falling short. Yet, vulnerability is a doorway to growth. When you accept feedback with openness, you gain a clearer picture of your strengths and blind spots. Taking action means turning insight into behavior. Feedback alone doesn't create change, it's the actions you take afterward that matter. Develop a plan for incorporating the feedback into your daily routines or mindset. This could involve practicing new skills, adjusting your approach, or seeking further learning. Setting measurable goals related to the feedback helps maintain focus and track progress. Accountability supports acting on feedback effectively. Share your development plan with a trusted person who can encourage and remind you of your commitments. Regular check-ins create momentum and help you stay aligned with the growth you aim to achieve. This external support reinforces your internal motivation and reduces the chance of slipping back into old patterns. Handling negative feedback with grace builds resilience. It teaches you to face discomfort without shutting down or lashing out. This emotional strength is essential for navigating life's challenges and maintaining healthy relationships. Each time you choose to act on feedback instead of defending yourself, you practice emotional control and build maturity. Learning from feedback also enhances communication skills. As you become more open to receiving critiques, you model this behavior for others. This openness fosters a culture of trust and continuous improvement in your personal and professional environments. People will feel safer giving you honest feedback, creating a positive cycle of growth. Remember that not all feedback will be accurate or helpful. Part of acting wisely on feedback is discerning which suggestions align with your values and goals. You don't need to implement everything you hear. Thoughtful evaluation ensures that your growth is authentic and meaningful rather than reactive or confused. Feedback can come from many sources: friends, family, colleagues, mentors, or even self-reflection. Cultivating an attitude that welcomes feedback from multiple angles broadens your perspective. It allows you to see yourself through different lenses, increasing your self-awareness and adaptability. Embrace feedback as a regular part of your development, rather than a rare or unpleasant event. The more accustomed you become to receiving and acting on feedback, the easier it gets. Over time, this habit becomes a natural part of how you approach life and challenges. The habit of acting on feedback requires practice and patience. You may stumble and react defensively at times. This is normal. What matters is how quickly you recognize these moments and return to openness. Each recovery strengthens your ability to handle future feedback with calm and clarity. Taking feedback seriously also shows respect for those who offer it. When you act on their insights, you validate their time and care. This respect strengthens your relationships and creates deeper connections based on mutual growth and understanding. The process of using feedback for growth is empowering. It shifts you from a passive receiver of criticism to an active agent of change. You take control of your improvement, using feedback as a map rather than a judgment. This empowerment boosts confidence and encourages continuous learning. Finally, remember that growth is a journey without a final destination. Feedback will always be part of your path. The willingness to receive and act on feedback keeps you evolving and moving forward. It is a commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. Choose to welcome feedback with openness today. Let go of defensiveness and embrace the chance to learn. Commit to taking concrete steps based on the insights you receive. This practice will deepen your self-awareness, improve your skills, and accelerate your progress in all areas of life. Acting on feedback is a powerful habit that transforms challenges into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones. Chapter 16. Turn mistakes into steps forward. Not shameful regrets. Mistakes are an inevitable part of life. Every person who achieves success has faced failures and errors along the way. What separates those who grow from those who remain stuck is the way they respond to mistakes. Mistakes should not be viewed as shameful failures or reasons to feel regret and self-condemnation. Instead, they must be seen as opportunities to learn, improve, and move forward with greater wisdom. Transforming mistakes into steps forward is an essential skill for personal growth and resilience. The first step to turning mistakes into progress is changing your mindset about errors. Many people carry a deep fear of making mistakes because they associate errors with personal inadequacy or defeat. This fear can lead to avoidance, procrastination, or harsh self-judgment. Reframing mistakes as natural learning experiences removes this fear and opens the door to courage and exploration. When you accept that mistakes are part of the process, you give yourself permission to try, fail, and grow. Mistakes provide valuable feedback. When something goes wrong, it reveals what does not work, what needs adjustment, or where your understanding was incomplete. Instead of ignoring or denying these signals, lean into them. Ask clear questions. What can I learn from this? What would I do differently next time? What patterns are emerging? These questions help you extract lessons that fuel improvement and prevent repeating the same error. Taking responsibility for your mistakes is another key to growth. Owning your part in the outcome without blaming others or circumstances allows you to control the narrative. Responsibility means acknowledging what you can influence and committing to take action to correct or improve. This mindset builds confidence because it empowers you rather than making you a victim of circumstance. Shame and regret drain your energy and cloud your judgment. When you focus on feeling bad about a mistake, you lose sight of the solution and waste time stuck in negativity. Forgiving yourself is crucial. Treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding you would offer a friend. Recognize that imperfection is human and that growth comes from trying again with better awareness. Creating a plan for moving forward after a mistake helps transform regret into progress. Identify specific actions you will take based on what you've learned. This might mean practicing new skills, seeking advice, or adjusting your goal. Breaking down the next steps into manageable tasks prevents overwhelm and builds momentum. Progress, no matter how small, rebuilds confidence and motivation. Sharing your mistakes with trusted people can also aid growth. When you open up about your challenges, you receive support, advice, and encouragement. This connection reduces feelings of isolation or shame. Others can remind you that mistakes are part of everyone's journey, and often the foundation of success. Mistakes can also strengthen resilience. Each time you recover and move forward, you develop mental toughness. You learn that setbacks do not define you, and that persistence leads to progress. This resilience becomes a powerful asset in facing future obstacles with calm and determination. Reflecting on past mistakes regularly helps you see your growth over time. What once felt like failure may now appear as a crucial turning point. This reflection builds perspective and gratitude for the lessons learned. It also motivates you to continue improving rather than fearing new mistakes. Avoid the trap of perfectionism, which makes mistakes unbearable. Perfectionism sets unrealistic standards that lead to paralysis or harsh self-criticism. Instead, embrace progress over perfection. Celebrate effort, learning, and incremental improvement. This mindset frees you to experiment and take risks essential for growth. Mistakes also foster creativity. When one approach fails, you are forced to think differently, try new strategies, and innovate. This process often leads to breakthroughs and unexpected success. Viewing mistakes as creative opportunities expands your problem-solving skills and adaptability. Remember that the greatest achievements are often built on a foundation of many mistakes. Inventors, artists, entrepreneurs, and leaders all faced failure repeatedly. Their success came not from avoiding mistakes, but from persisting with learning and adjusting. Their stories remind us that mistakes are stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. Build the habit of asking yourself after each setback, "What can this teach me?" This simple practice redirects your focus from negative emotions to constructive action. It trains your mind to see every challenge as a chance to grow stronger and wiser. Use mistakes to cultivate humility. Recognizing your fallibility makes you more open to feedback, collaboration, and continuous learning. Humility strengthens relationships and deepens self-awareness, both vital for lasting success. Mistakes are not final judgments on your worth or potential. They are temporary events that reveal areas to develop. By changing how you respond to mistakes, you take control of your growth and prevent shame from holding you back. Commit today to transform mistakes into progress. When you falter, pause, reflect, forgive, learn, and act. Each mistake then becomes a step forward on your path, rather than a weight dragging you down. This approach leads to a life of courage, resilience, and continuous improvement. Instead of fearing failure, you welcome it as a powerful teacher. You move beyond regrets into confident, purposeful action that shapes your future. Make your mistakes the fuel for your growth and the proof of your determination. In doing so, you become unstoppable in your pursuit of the life you want to create. Chapter 17. Take real risks that help you grow stronger. Taking real risks is essential for personal growth and becoming stronger. Playing it safe may feel comfortable but rarely leads to meaningful change. Growth demands stepping outside familiar boundaries and embracing uncertainty. Risk involves vulnerability and the possibility of failure, but it also opens the door to new experiences, learning, and greater confidence. Without taking risks, you limit your potential and settle into stagnation. True risks are calculated and purposeful. They are not reckless or impulsive actions, but deliberate steps toward growth. Real risks challenge your limits and require courage to face fear. They force you to confront uncertainty and move forward anyway. These risks create opportunities for breakthrough moments and expanded capabilities. Risk-taking builds resilience. Each time you step into the unknown and manage discomfort, you strengthen your mental and emotional muscles. You learn that discomfort is temporary and does not define your ability to succeed. This resilience prepares you to handle future challenges with greater calm and determination. Fear is the biggest obstacle to risk-taking. It triggers self-doubt, hesitation, and avoidance. Understanding fear as a natural response rather than a stop sign is critical. Fear signals that you are pushing your limits and entering growth zones. Rather than avoiding fear, lean into it and use it as a compass guiding you to areas that matter most. Taking real risks requires clarity about your goals and values. When your risks align with what you truly want, the fear becomes manageable. Your purpose fuels motivation and sustains you through uncertainty. Without clear intentions, risk-taking can feel aimless or overwhelming. Start small to build confidence in risk-taking. Identify low-stakes opportunities to challenge yourself. This might mean speaking up in a meeting, trying a new hobby, or initiating a difficult conversation. Each small risk teaches you valuable lessons and reduces the fear of bigger risks ahead. Embracing failure as part of risk-taking is essential. Not every risk will lead to immediate success, but every attempt provides valuable insight. Viewing failure as feedback rather than defeat empowers you to adjust and persist. This mindset shift transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Surround yourself with supportive people who encourage your growth and risk-taking. Their belief in your potential reinforces your courage and accountability. Positive influence helps you maintain perspective and avoid isolation when risks feel intimidating. Taking risks enhances creativity and innovation. New experiences and challenges inspire fresh ideas and solutions. Risk-taking pushes you beyond conventional thinking and habitual patterns. This expansion develops your adaptability and problem-solving skills. Visualizing success and preparing for challenges reduce anxiety about risks. Mentally rehearsing how you will handle potential obstacles increases your readiness and confidence. Preparation does not eliminate uncertainty, but equips you to respond effectively. Reflect regularly on your risk-taking experiences. Analyze what worked, what didn't, and how you felt. This reflection deepens your self-awareness and informs smarter risks in the future. It also builds a habit of continuous learning. Balance risk with wisdom. Not all risks are worth taking. Evaluate potential consequences and benefits honestly. Wise risk-taking considers both the upside and the downside and plans accordingly. This balance protects you from unnecessary harm while promoting growth. Risk-taking is a lifelong practice. Growth does not stop after one successful risk. Continual challenge keeps you evolving and prevents complacency. Embrace risk as a regular part of your journey toward becoming stronger and more capable. Taking real risks requires trust in yourself. Believe in your ability to handle uncertainty and recover from setbacks. This self-trust is built through consistent action and reflection. It becomes the foundation that supports courageous choices. When you take risks aligned with your values and goals, you live authentically. You refuse to be limited by fear or comfort. This authenticity attracts opportunities and people that resonate with your true self. Celebrate your risk-taking successes, no matter the size. Acknowledge the courage it took to step forward. This recognition fuels motivation and builds positive associations with risk. Avoid letting past failures stop you from taking new risks. Each risk is a new opportunity unrelated to previous outcomes. Focus on what you can control, your mindset and effort. Real risk-taking brings a sense of vitality and fulfillment. It breaks monotony and opens doors to growth and discovery. Taking risks enriches your life with experiences that deepen your strength and resilience. Commit to taking at least one real risk regularly. Whether daily or weekly, these intentional steps push your limits and expand your capacity. Over time, risk-taking becomes second nature and a source of empowerment. By embracing risk, you claim ownership of your growth and future. You move beyond fear to possibility. You become stronger not because life is easy, but because you choose to face challenges with courage and wisdom. Take risks that matter. Step into discomfort to unlock your potential. Your strongest self awaits on the other side of fear. Chapter 18. Give your best effort even when no one watches. True character is revealed not when others are watching, but when you give your best effort in complete solitude. This principle is a cornerstone of genuine personal growth and achievement. Many seek recognition and validation from outside sources, yet the foundation of lasting success is built on consistent commitment to excellence, regardless of audience or reward. Giving your best effort when no one is watching develops integrity, discipline, and self-respect, qualities that cannot be faked or borrowed from external approval. The practice of delivering your highest quality work in private trains your mind and body to pursue excellence as a habit, not as a performance. When you commit to doing your best without expectation of praise or acknowledgement, you cultivate an internal drive that outlasts fleeting applause. This inner motivation becomes a powerful force that sustains you during challenges and times of discouragement. Effort without witnesses requires self-trust. It means believing in the value of your actions even if they go unseen or unappreciated by others. This trust is a vital component of maturity and resilience. It helps you stay consistent in your pursuits and maintain high standards even when external feedback is absent or delayed. Giving your best effort privately also nurtures a sense of pride that is deeper than superficial praise. This pride comes from knowing you have honored your own potential and commitments. It creates a positive feedback loop where your confidence grows because your actions align with your values, independent of outside influence. Consistently striving for excellence in private builds discipline. It teaches you to push beyond comfort and complacency without the push of external pressure. This discipline spills over into every area of your life, shaping your habits, relationships, and goals. It forms the backbone of reliable progress and sustained success. This principle applies to all aspects of life, whether work, study, fitness, or relationships. For example, practicing skills diligently when alone leads to mastery that shines in public. Exercising with full effort, even when no one is present, builds physical and mental strength. Completing tasks thoroughly before deadlines demonstrates responsibility. Small acts of kindness performed without expectation strengthen empathy and connection. The challenge is that human nature often craves immediate recognition. The digital age, with its likes and shares, intensifies this desire. However, lasting growth requires stepping away from this instant gratification culture. Focusing on your private efforts reconnects you to the slow and steady nature of real achievement. Giving your best when unobserved also prepares you for moments when visibility comes. The habits formed in solitude become your foundation for performance under pressure. Because you have practiced integrity privately, you are more likely to handle public challenges with confidence and authenticity. The habit of private excellence guards against the temptation to cut corners or settle for mediocrity when no one is watching. It reminds you that your worth is not dependent on external validation, but on the standards you set for yourself. This mindset protects you from shortcuts that undermine long-term success. Building this habit requires intentionality. Begin by setting clear expectations for yourself in daily activities. Decide what giving your best looks like in each context, and hold yourself accountable. Use reminders or rituals that reinforce your commitment to private excellence. Reflection is a useful tool. At the end of each day, review moments when you gave full effort and identify opportunities to improve. Celebrate the times you acted with integrity even without recognition. This practice strengthens your awareness and dedication. Self-compassion is important during this process. Sometimes energy will be low, distractions will arise, or motivation will wane. Recognize these moments without harsh judgment and recommit to your standards. Discipline grows from consistency over time, not perfection every day. Giving your best effort privately also influences how others perceive you. Authentic excellence attracts respect and trust naturally. People sense when someone consistently acts with integrity, even if the efforts are unseen most of the time. Your reputation is built quietly but powerfully by the habits you maintain in solitude. This principle creates a foundation for leadership. Leaders who lead by example in private inspire others to elevate their own standards. They create cultures of accountability and dedication that foster collective success. Remember that progress is often invisible before it becomes visible. The hours spent practicing, preparing, and refining away from the spotlight compound into significant breakthrough. Trust in the process and value your unseen work. Over time, giving your best effort when no one watches becomes second nature. It becomes a defining trait rather than a choice. This transformation elevates your life and work beyond external circumstance. Commit to honoring your potential daily through unseen effort. Make excellence your default, not just your showcase. In doing so, you build a life of integrity, resilience, and true achievement that no audience can take away. Chapter 19. Hold yourself accountable with honest daily reflection. Holding yourself accountable through honest daily reflection is a powerful practice that drives meaningful growth and consistent progress. It creates a space for you to pause, evaluate your actions, and make conscious adjustments toward your goals. Accountability starts with truthfulness, being willing to face your own reality without excuses or denial. This honest self-assessment sharpens awareness and keeps you aligned with your values and intentions. Daily reflection serves as a mirror, revealing both your achievements and areas needing improvement. It prevents slipping into autopilot where habits form without conscious choice. Instead, it empowers you to steer your life actively rather than react to circumstances. By taking time each day to review what you did, how you felt, and what you learned, you cultivate clarity and focus that drive better decisions. Effective reflection is specific and actionable. Instead of vague judgments like "I did well" or "I failed," focus on concrete observations. Ask questions such as, what progress did I make toward my goal today? What choices supported or hindered that progress? How did I handle challenges or distractions? This clarity helps identify patterns and highlights what needs attention. Honesty during reflection means acknowledging mistakes and weaknesses without harsh self-criticism. It is about being compassionate yet truthful. When you accept your flaws openly, you create a foundation for change rather than denial or defensiveness. This acceptance strengthens resilience by turning setbacks into learning opportunities instead of sources of shame. Reflection is most effective when it becomes a consistent habit. Establish a regular time each day, whether morning or evening, to engage in this practice. Creating a ritual signals commitment and makes reflection a natural part of your routine. Over time, this daily habit sharpens your self-awareness and deepens your connection to your purpose. Writing your reflections down amplifies their impact. Putting thoughts on paper organizes your mind and creates a record of your journey. This documentation allows you to track progress over days, weeks, or months, providing motivation and insight. It also serves as a tool for accountability, reminding you of commitments made and lessons learned. Accountability through reflection involves setting clear intentions for improvement. After reviewing your day honestly, identify one or two specific actions to focus on tomorrow. These small targeted goals make growth manageable and measurable. Each day becomes an opportunity to build on previous insights and move forward intentionally. Self-accountability does not mean isolation. Sharing your reflections with a trusted friend, mentor, or coach can provide valuable perspective and encouragement. External accountability supports your internal commitment and helps maintain momentum. It also creates a feedback loop where you can receive input and refine your approach. Reflection cultivates emotional intelligence by encouraging you to notice your feelings and reactions. Understanding emotional patterns helps regulate responses and reduces impulsivity. This awareness enhances decision-making and strengthens relationships, contributing to personal and professional success. Honest daily reflection develops discipline by reinforcing responsibility for your choices. When you consistently review your actions, you are less likely to drift into procrastination or distraction. This regular check-in fosters self-control and commitment that sustain progress even during difficult periods. Reflection connects you to your deeper values and vision. It reminds you why your goals matter and what kind of person you want to become. This connection fuels motivation and helps you stay on course despite obstacles or setbacks. It transforms effort from a chore into meaningful growth. Over time, reflection creates a feedback-rich environment within yourself. You become attuned to subtle shifts and opportunities for improvement before they become problems. This proactive mindset enhances adaptability and problem-solving skills. Avoid using reflection as a way to ruminate or criticize endlessly. The goal is constructive awareness and forward movement. If negative thoughts arise, acknowledge them briefly and refocus on solutions and next steps. Balanced reflection promotes positivity and empowerment. Reflection also supports creativity. By reviewing experiences and questions regularly, you generate new ideas and perspectives. This practice opens your mind to innovation and growth beyond habitual thinking. Commit to honesty in your daily reflections. Resist the urge to sugarcoat or justify. Face your truth with courage and kindness. This integrity builds trust between your conscious self and your actions. When reflection becomes part of your daily life, you cultivate a mindset of continuous improvement. You learn to embrace challenges as chances to grow rather than threats. This mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into lessons. The habit of self-accountability through reflection increases confidence. Knowing you are actively monitoring and shaping your journey reinforces a sense of control and competence. This confidence encourages you to take risks and pursue your goals boldly. Reflection nurtures patience as you recognize growth unfolds gradually. It prevents frustration by highlighting small wins and steady progress. This patience sustains long-term commitment and prevents burnout. Holding yourself accountable with honest daily reflection empowers you to live intentionally. You become the author of your story, making deliberate choices aligned with your highest aspirations. This power transforms your life from reactive to proactive. Begin today by setting aside time for reflection. Ask honest questions, record your thoughts, and plan your next steps. Practice kindness toward yourself and remain committed to this daily habit. Through consistent reflection, you create a path of steady growth, clarity, and fulfillment that supports your lifelong journey toward your best self. Chapter 20. Act like the person you want to become. The path to becoming who you want to be begins with behaving as that person now. This approach is not about pretending or faking, but aligning your actions, thoughts, and habits with your highest vision for yourself. Acting like the person you aspire to be bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to go. It creates momentum, builds confidence, and rewires your mind to support your future self. Consistent behavior modeled on your ideal self shapes your identity more powerfully than wishes or intentions alone. Living as the person you want to become means adopting the mindset, values, and discipline that define that version of you. If you envision yourself as confident, disciplined, and kind, start by making choices that embody those traits. Speak to yourself with respect and encouragement. Handle challenges with calm determination. Treat others with empathy and fairness. These deliberate actions reinforce your self-image and build the habits that sustain growth. Every decision, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to practice acting like your future self. How you respond to setbacks, manage your time, or communicate with others matters. When you choose patience over frustration, focus over distraction, or integrity over convenience, you cultivate the qualities of your ideal character. Over time, these repeated choices forge a new identity rooted in action rather than aspiration. Acting like the person you want to become requires clarity about who that person is. Define the qualities, habits, and values you wish to embody. Write them down and revisit this vision regularly. This clarity serves as a compass, guiding your daily actions and helping you stay consistent. Without a clear picture, your efforts risk becoming scattered or inconsistent. This approach demands courage because it may require stepping outside comfort zones. Your future self might be braver, more disciplined, or more resilient than your current version. Acting as that person means pushing beyond fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs. It means choosing growth over ease, effort over complacency. This intentional discomfort is necessary for transformation. Role modeling yourself after your ideal self rewires your brain. Neuroscience shows that repeated behaviors shape neural pathways. The more you practice acting like your future self, the more natural those behaviors become. This rewiring reduces resistance and increases alignment between your actions and goals. Your mind begins to expect and seek the behaviors that serve your growth. Consistency is key in this process. Occasional effort is not enough to create lasting change. Your future self is built daily through repeated choices. Habits form slowly, but each time you act with intention, you reinforce the foundation. Even when motivation wanes, discipline to continue acting aligned keeps progress steady. Acting like your future self also influences your environment. People respond to your confidence and integrity, often reflecting those qualities back to you. This positive feedback loop strengthens your identity and expands opportunities. You attract relationships, work, and experiences that align with who you are becoming. Accountability supports this transformation. Share your vision with trusted individuals who encourage and challenge you. Their belief in your potential reinforces your own. External reminders and support prevent drift back into old patterns and complacency. Embodying your future self requires patience. Change does not happen overnight. Expect setbacks and mistakes without losing sight of your vision. When you falter, recommit immediately. Each moment offers a fresh opportunity to act according to your highest self. Visualization enhances this process. Regularly imagine yourself living and acting as your ideal person. Feel the emotions, see the scenarios, and experience the behaviors vividly. This mental rehearsal prepares your mind and body to follow through in real life. And think about yourself in the present tense as if you are already that person. Replace limiting statements like "I will be" or "I hope to be" with "I am." This shift solidifies belief and accelerates identity change. Align your environment to support your future self. Organize your space, schedule, and resources to encourage the habits and actions you want. Remove distractions and temptations that pull you away from your vision. Celebrate progress along the way. Recognize when you act in alignment with your future self and acknowledge growth. This positive reinforcement fuels motivation and joy in the journey. Avoid waiting for external circumstances or permission to become who you want to be. Your power lies in your present choices. The transformation starts with action now, not after some future event or condition. Acting like your future self also builds self-respect. When your behavior matches your values and goals, you develop pride and confidence that sustain momentum. This respect for yourself becomes a source of inner strength and resilience. Recognize that identity is fluid and within your control. You are not fixed by past habits or mistakes. Every action you take redefines who you are and who you will become. This empowerment frees you from limiting narratives and opens possibilities. This practice deepens self-awareness. You learn to notice when your actions diverge from your vision and gently course-correct. This awareness prevents drifting into old habits and strengthens your commitment. Living as your future self enhances decision-making. With clear priorities and values, choices become easier and more aligned. You save energy by acting from purpose rather than reaction. This approach also fosters authenticity. When you consciously embody your best qualities, you express your true self more fully. Authenticity attracts respect and meaningful connection. Commit today to act like the person you want to become. Choose behaviors, thoughts, and habits that reflect your highest vision. Build consistency through daily intentional actions. Embrace discomfort as a sign of growth. Celebrate each step forward. By doing so, you close the gap between aspiration and reality. You become the architect of your transformation. Your future self is not a distant dream, but a living presence in your daily life. The person you want to be waits to be fully realized through your consistent choices and action. Act now and step confidently into that becoming.